The subpoena did not arrive by mail. It walked through the door of a greasy spoon diner in the hands of a man wearing a $3,000 suit and a look of pure contempt. December morning, 6:52. The iron skillet sat on the corner of Colfax Avenue in Denver, Colorado, its neon sign buzzing against the pre-dawn darkness. Snow fell in lazy spirals, catching the yellow streetlights, turning the world into a watercolor painting of gray and gold. Inside, the air smelled of bacon grease and burnt coffee and something else. Hope, maybe, or desperation. The kind that settles into the booths and counter stools of diners like this one, where people come not just to eat, but to be warm, to be seen. Lily Parker wiped down counter number 4 for the third time. The rag was gray, fraying at the edges, much like her patience. At 26, she wore exhaustion like a winter coat, heavy, permanent. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a bun that had started neat at 5 in the morning and had slowly unraveled over the past 2 hours. Her apron bore the stains of maple syrup and ketchup and the carelessness of rushed service. She did not notice when the door opened. She was too focused on the crack in the countertop, a jagged line that ran 6 inches and seemed to grow wider every week. Like everything else in her life, it was breaking, and she lacked the money to fix it. The cold air hit first, then the silence. The diner had not been loud, just the normal morning sounds. The hiss of the grill, the clink of coffee cups, the low murmur of truck drivers and construction workers starting their shifts. But when the 2 men entered, those sounds stopped. Not all at once, gradually, like someone turning down the volume on a radio. Lily looked up. 2 men stood just inside the doorway, snow melting on their shoulders. They did not belong here. That much was obvious. The first man was tall, maybe 6'2", with dark hair slicked back so perfectly it looked painted on. His suit was navy blue, tailored to within an inch of its life, the kind of suit that cost more than Lily made in 3 months. His eyes were blue, ice blue, the kind of blue that did not ask questions. It issued verdicts. The second man was older, softer around the edges, 50-something, thinning hair, wire-frame glasses that sat crooked on his nose. He clutched a leather briefcase like it contained nuclear codes. Neither man looked at the menu. Neither man looked at the other patrons. They looked at Lily. The tall man walked toward the counter. His shoes clicked on the linoleum floor, sharp, deliberate, each step a statement. He stopped 3 feet from where Lily stood, his expensive cologne cutting through the smell of bacon like a knife through fog. He reached into his jacket. Lily flinched, just a little, just enough. He pulled out a photograph, placed it on the counter, face up. It was grainy, black and white, clearly taken from a security camera. The image showed the interior of the iron skillet. Booth number 4. A young woman leaning over the table, her hand extended toward an elderly man. Money visible between her fingers. Lily recognized herself immediately, and she recognized Theodore. The tall man spoke. His voice was deep and smooth and utterly devoid of warmth. Miss Parker, we need to discuss the $340 million you embezzled from my grandfather. The world tilted. Not dramatically, not like in the movies, just a subtle shift, like standing on a boat that had been steady and then suddenly was not. Lily gripped the edge of the counter. I do not understand. The man did not blink. Theodore Montgomery, the homeless man you have been helping for 3 years. Except he was not homeless. He was a billionaire, and now he's dead. Behind the counter, Frank Martinez stopped scraping the grill. He was 45, built like a brick wall with tattoos running up both forearms and a scar over his left eye from his 2 tours in Afghanistan. He moved toward them slowly, spatula still in hand. The tall man glanced at Frank, then back at Lily. My name is Derek Montgomery. This is Gregory Whitmore, Chief Financial Officer of Montgomery Industries. We are here regarding the fraudulent will my grandfather signed 3 days before his death. A will that leaves you, a waitress he barely knew, $280 million in liquid assets. Lily felt her knees weaken. I just gave him breakfast. Derek Montgomery smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. You gave him a lot more than that, Miss Parker. And now we are going to discuss how you are going to give it back. 3 years earlier, Lily Parker had not wanted to be a hero. She wanted to pay rent. The iron skillet was not her dream job. It was her survival job. The kind of work you take when the student loans come due and the nursing program costs more than you can borrow and your mother gets diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's, and suddenly every dollar matters. She started on a Tuesday in September. 23 years old, blonde hair pulled back, smile practiced in the mirror until it looked natural. The manager, Frank Martinez, barely looked at her resume. You show up on time, you do not steal, you do not complain. The job is yours. She showed up on time. The first week was brutal. Her feet ached, her back screamed. She learned quickly that the morning shift meant truckers who tipped in coins and businessmen who did not tip at all, and regulars who had been coming to the Iron Skillet for 20 years and did not like change. She learned to read people, the ones who wanted conversation and the ones who wanted silence. The ones who would leave $2 on a $10 check and the ones who would leave nothing and complain about the coffee temperature. She learned to smile through it. On her 9th day, Theodore walked in. It was 7:15 in the morning. The breakfast rush had not started yet. The diner was half empty, 2 truckers at the counter, a couple in the back booth, a businessman reading the Wall Street Journal and sipping black coffee like it was medicine. The door opened. An old man shuffled in. Lily noticed him immediately, though later she would not be able to say why. Maybe it was the way he moved. Careful, deliberate, like someone navigating a world that had become unfamiliar. Maybe it was his coat, an oversized tweed trench that looked like it had survived multiple decades and several owners. Maybe it was his eyes. Blue, watery, intelligent, watching. He wore a gray newsboy cap pulled low over his forehead. His pants were too long, bunched at the ankles. His shoes were worn but clean. Not homeless, Lily thought, just poor. There was a difference. He chose booth number 4, the back corner, away from the door, where he could see everyone, but no one paid attention to him. Lily grabbed a menu and a coffee pot. Good morning. Coffee? The old man looked up at her, really looked. Not the way most customers did, glancing without seeing. He studied her face like he was memorizing it. Please. Black. His voice was rough, like gravel mixed with honey. Lily poured. The old man wrapped his hands around the cup, absorbing the warmth. Take your time with the menu. No rush. She started to walk away. Miss, she turned back. The old man was reaching into his coat pocket. He pulled out a small velvet drawstring bag, the kind that might hold jewelry or coins. He loosened the string and emptied the bag onto the table. Pennies, nickels, dimes, a few quarters. They clattered across the formica surface, spinning, settling. The old man began stacking them. His hands trembled slightly, but his movements were methodical. Precise. 5 pennies, 10 pennies, 20. Lily waited. After 2 minutes, he looked up. How much is the coffee and toast? She glanced at the menu even though she had memorized the prices on day 1. $2.25. He looked down at his stacks, counted again. His face fell. I seem to be short today. Just the coffee, please. Lily glanced toward the kitchen. Frank was watching through the pass-through window. She knew the rules. The Iron Skillet was not a charity. Food cost money. Customers paid or they left. She looked at the old man. He was not looking at her. He was staring at his coins, his jaw tight, his eyes wet. She made a decision, reached into her apron pocket where she kept her tips, pulled out a $1 bill, slid it onto the table under the napkin dispenser. Sir, this fell out of your coat pocket when you sat down. The old man looked at the money, then at her. I did not drop anything, miss. Must have been the wind. Order is already in. She walked away before he could argue. When she brought the toast 3 minutes later, the old man was still staring at the dollar bill. He looked up at her again, and this time his expression was different. Softer. Sad, maybe, or grateful. Thank you, she smiled. Enjoy. When he left 20 minutes later, the plates were clean. The dollar bill was gone. But on the table under the salt shaker, he had left a single penny, shinier than the others. It caught the light. Lily picked it up, turned it over, saw nothing unusual. She dropped it into the mason jar she kept in her locker. Coins for laundry. She did not know she had just passed the first test. The pattern established quickly. Tuesday and Thursday mornings, 7:15. Theodore always arrived at 7:15, shuffling through the door like clockwork, like a man whose life depended on routine. He always sat in booth number 4. He always ordered coffee and toast. Sometimes eggs, never anything expensive. He always paid in coins, and he was always short. 40 cents, 60 cents, sometimes $1.20. Lily always found money to cover the difference. She told herself it was kindness. She told herself it was the right thing to do. She told herself that someday, when she was old and counting pennies, she hoped someone would do the same for her. But it was more than that. Theodore saw her, not the waitress, not the struggling 20-something buried in debt. Her, The person underneath the exhaustion and the fake smile and the crumbling hope. On week 12, he left her a polished riverstone. Smooth. Gray. Perfect for holding. On week 45, a vintage postage stamp. George Washington, 1953. On week 89, an antique brass military button. Lily kept them all in the mason jar on her dresser. Theodore's treasures, she called them. Proof that someone noticed, that someone cared. She never asked his last name. He never offered it. The months blurred together. Fall turned to winter, turned to spring. The tips stayed small. The bills stayed large. Her mother's condition worsened. But every Tuesday and Thursday, Theodore was there. And every Tuesday and Thursday, Lily made sure he ate. She did not know she was being tested. She did not know every interaction was being documented. She did not know that in a leather-bound notebook, in handwriting that shook with age but burned with clarity, Theodore was writing, Day 47, subject shows consistency, no exploitation detected. Day 103, subject extends kindness beyond target, genuine altruism confirmed. Day 156, subject prioritizes human welfare over personal gain. Pattern continues. She did not know that Theodore Montgomery was not homeless. She did not know he was worth $2.1 billion. She did not know he was dying, and she did not know that he had chosen her. Lily's apartment was 6 blocks from the Iron Skillet, a studio on the 3rd floor of a building that should have been condemned 20 years ago. The elevator did not work. The heat was inconsistent. The walls were so thin she could hear her neighbor's television through the plaster. But it was hers, or would be, if she could pay rent. She climbed the stairs slowly that afternoon, legs aching from the double shift. Frank had asked her to cover for the evening waitress who had called in sick. Again, Lily said yes. Again. Because saying no meant losing hours and losing hours meant falling further behind. She unlocked the door. Mom, Janet Parker, sat in the recliner by the window, a blanket over her legs despite the warmth. She was 52 but looked 70. Parkinson's did that, aged you from the inside out. The tremors were worse today. Janet's right hand shook constantly, a rhythmic motion she could not control. Her left hand gripped the armrest, knuckles white, trying to anchor herself to something solid. You are home early. Lily dropped her purse on the counter, covered the dinner shift. Just came back to check on you. The coffee table was covered in medical bills. Envelopes. White. Official. Threatening. Lily had stopped opening them 2 weeks ago. Ignorance was not bliss, but it was easier than facing numbers she could not change. She picked up her phone. Bank app. Checking account balance. $83.67. Rent was due in 6 days. $1,200. She had no idea how she was going to pay it. Janet watched her daughter with eyes that saw too much. Sweetheart, you cannot keep doing this. Doing what? Sacrificing for me. You should be in nursing school. You should be living your life, not taking care of your sick mother in a falling apart apartment. Lily sat on the arm of the recliner. Mom, stop. We are managing. We are drowning. We are swimming. Different strokes, same pool. Janet tried to smile. The tremor made it look like a grimace. I should go to a state facility. They have programs. You could use the money to go back to school, finish your degree, actually have a future. Lily felt anger rise in her chest, hot, protective. You are not going to a state facility. Those places are where people go to be forgotten. You are my mother. I am not forgetting you. She stood, walked to the window. Outside, Denver spread out in a grid of lights and shadows. Somewhere out there, people were living normal lives. People who did not count pennies. People whose mothers were healthy. People who had won the genetic lottery and did not know how lucky they were. The mail slot rattled. An envelope slid under the door. Lily picked it up. Official letterhead, bold red text, final eviction notice. 15 days to vacate or face legal action. She crumpled it in her fist. Janet could not see it from the chair, but she knew. How bad? Lily forced her voice to stay steady, manageable. She shoved the notice into the back of a drawer, under the other notices she could not afford to acknowledge. Her phone buzzed. Text message from Frank. Need you back by 5. Jenny still not answering. Lily typed back. On my way. She grabbed her purse, kissed her mother's forehead. I will bring dinner. The meatloaf special. Your favorite. Janet caught her hand. The tremor made the grip weak, but the intent was strong. I love you, Lily, and I am sorry. Lily squeezed back. Nothing to be sorry for, Mom, nothing at all. She left before her mother could see her cry. November 28th, Tuesday, 7:15 in the morning. Theodore arrived on time, But something was different. Lily noticed immediately. His shuffle was less pronounced. His eyes, usually distant and watery, were sharp, focused. He glanced at the door twice before sitting. His hands, when he removed his gloves, did not tremble. Theodore ordered the full breakfast. Eggs, bacon, hash browns, toast, orange juice? Lily raised an eyebrow. Big appetite today. Theodore smiled. It was fun and knowing and final. Figure I should eat well while I still can. She brought his coffee, watched him wrap his hands around the cup. His fingers were steady. Theodore, are you feeling okay? He looked up at her. Really looked. Lily, that is your name, right? I have never asked properly. She nodded, surprised. And you are Theodore, or do you prefer Ted? Theodore, Theodore is fine. He took a sip of coffee. Tell me, Lily, do you know my last name? She shook her head. No, I never asked. Should I? Theodore's smile widened. No, that is perfect. That is exactly perfect. The breakfast rush started. Lily moved between tables, pouring coffee, taking orders, delivering plates. But she kept glancing at booth number 4. Theodore ate slowly, deliberately, like a man savoring his last meal. When the rush died down, she refilled his coffee. He leaned in. Lily, listen carefully. She stopped pouring. If people come asking about me, well-dressed men, expensive lawyers, you never knew anything beyond Theodore who liked toast. Understand? She frowned. Theodore, what is wrong? Are you in trouble? He shook his head. I am not in trouble. I am conducting an experiment, and you have given me the results I needed. What experiment? He reached out, almost touched her hand, then thought better of it. Keep being you, Lily Parker. Do not let them change you. Promise me. I promise. But why are you talking like this? Are you leaving? Theodore stood. For the first time in 3 years, he paid with bills instead of coins. Exact amount, plus a $3 tip. Thank you, Lily, for seeing me. He walked toward the door. Lily called after him. Theodore, wait, he turned. Will I see you Thursday? He smiled. I hope so. Then he was gone, disappearing into the morning snow. Lily walked back to booth number 4. On the table under his coffee cup was a napkin, handwritten in shaky ballpoint pen. Keep the change. All of it. Trust Caldwell. The words made no sense. She started clearing the dishes and noticed something wedged into the crack of the vinyl seat. A small leather notebook. Worn, black, heavy for its size. She pulled it out, opened the cover. No name, no phone number, just pages and pages of handwriting. Theodore, she whispered, but he was already gone. Wednesday passed in a blur of worry. Lily kept the notebook in her apron pocket all shift, feeling its weight like a secret. Every time the door opened, she looked up, expecting to see Theodore shuffling in, embarrassed, asking for his notebook back. But he never came. Thursday morning, 7:15. The door did not open. 7:30. Nothing. By 8, Lily was calling Frank over. Have you seen Theodore? The old guy? Booth 4? Yes, he did not come in today. Frank shrugged. Maybe he is sick. Maybe he found a better diner. People move on, kid. Do not get attached. But Lily was attached. That afternoon, after her shift, she looked up subsidized housing on Colfax Avenue. There were 3 complexes within walking distance of the Iron Skillet. She started calling. The third place, Maple Grove Residences, had a manager who answered on the 5th ring. I am looking for a resident. Theodore. Older man wears a tweed coat. Theodore? Yeah, Unit 12B. But he is gone. Lily's stomach dropped. Gone where? Manager sighed, annoyed. Some corporate guys came Monday evening. Black SUVs, suits, the whole deal. Said they were moving him to a care facility, paid his back rent in cash. $2,400. Cleaned out his room in 20 minutes. Was he okay with this? Lady, I did not see him. They had papers. Legal guardianship documents. Said he was too sick to make decisions for himself. I am just the building manager. I do not ask questions when people pay what they owe. Lily hung up. Her hands shook. Corporate guys, care facility, legal guardianship. Something was very wrong. That night, she sat on her bed with the notebook open in her lap. Janet was asleep in the recliner, blanket pulled up to her chin, tremors finally still. Lily read. The first pages were stock codes, dates, numbers, names she did not recognize. Then the entries changed. October 15th, the tea burns my throat. Derek insists I drink it daily. For your health, he says. But afterward, I forget. I forget where I am. I forget names. Today I stopped drinking it. The fog is lifting. He has been poisoning me. Lily's breath caught. November 1st. I confirmed it. Derek is embezzling. Plans to liquidate research and development. Sell patents to Meridian. Needs me declared incompetent to bypass trust protections. I have maybe weeks. November 20th, I must disappear. Live as the invisible. Find someone who sees me. The human, not the wallet. That person will inherit my legacy, not my blood. The pages blurred. Lily wiped her eyes, turned to the last entry. November 27th, Lily Parker, age 26, waitress, struggling, mother ill, debt crushing her. For 3 years, she has given what she cannot afford. Never asked my name, never sought advantage. She helped because helping is who she is. Tomorrow I complete the test. If I do not return, she has passed. The inheritance is hers, but Derek will come for her. He will try to destroy her. She must find Robert Caldwell, 847 Willow Street. The only man who ever told me no. The only one I trust. The key is hidden in plain sight. She has been holding it for 2 years. The bearer of the key owns my legacy. Lily read it 3 times. Then she reached for her phone, typed into the search bar. Theodore, Colorado billionaire. The screen filled with results. The first headline stopped her heart. Theodore Montgomery, 73, tech pioneer and founder of Montgomery Industries, dies. She clicked. A photo loaded. Theodore. But not her Theodore. This Theodore wore a tuxedo, stood in front of a mansion, smiled the smile of someone who owned the world. The article continued. Montgomery, who founded Montgomery Industries in 1979, built an empire worth $2.1 billion through aerospace engineering patents. He is survived by his grandson, Derek Montgomery, Vice President of Operations. $2.1 billion. Lily could not breathe. He was not homeless. He was testing me. She scrolled down, reading faster. Services will be held privately. In lieu of flowers, donations can be made to the Montgomery Foundation for Innovation and Education. Dated 4 days ago, Theodore had died Sunday, the day after his last visit. Lily stood, walked to her dresser, grabbed the mason jar. Pennies, stones, stamps, the brass button. She picked up the button, heavier than it should be. She turned it over. The back was not a loop for thread. It was a flat surface with a seam. She twisted. The button unscrewed. Inside, nestled in the hollow brass shell, was a small silver key. Engraved on one side, FNB-404, First National Bank, Box 404. Lily sank onto the bed, key in one hand, notebook in the other. Theodore Montgomery, billionaire. He gave me a key. Outside, snow began to fall again. And somewhere across the city, Derek Montgomery is preparing for war. Derek Montgomery did not sleep the night his grandfather died. He stood in Theodore's study, the one the old man had insisted on keeping even after moving into Derek's care. And he searched, methodically, systematically. Every drawer, every file cabinet, every hidden space he could find. He was looking for the Phoenix Protocol. Theodore had mentioned it once, years ago, during one of his more lucid moments. Before the treatment started. Before the fog descended. A fail-safe, Theodore had called it. Insurance against greed. Derek had dismissed it at the time. Now he needed to find it, because if the Phoenix Protocol was real, if Theodore had actually signed control of the company to someone else, Derek was finished. The embezzlement would be discovered. The poisoning would be investigated. The offshore accounts would be frozen. He would go to prison. So he searched and found nothing. On Tuesday morning, while Lily was serving Theodore his final breakfast, Derek met with his lawyers. We need to move fast. File mental incompetence immediately. Freeze all estate accounts. Contest any will that surfaces. The lead attorney, Winston Pierce, nodded. And if there is a Phoenix Protocol? Derek's jaw tightened. Then we discredit whoever holds it. Bury them in litigation. Make them wish they had never met my grandfather. Now standing in the iron skillet at 6:52 on a cold December morning, Derek Montgomery watched Lily Parker's face drain of color. And he smiled. Because fear was leverage. And he needed all the leverage he could get. Derek Montgomery did not raise his voice. He did not need to. Power, real power, spoke in whispers, in calm, measured tones that suggested absolute control, in the certainty that consequences were inevitable and resistance was futile. He slid into the booth across from where Lily stood, Gregory Whitmore following like a nervous shadow. The CFO's hands trembled slightly as he opened his briefcase, the leather worn at the corners, the brass clasps tarnished. Miss Parker, please. Sit. It was not a request. Lily glanced at Frank. The diner owner had positioned himself behind the counter, spatula gripped like a weapon. His Afghanistan instincts activated. She saw the tension in his shoulders, the way his weight shifted to the balls of his feet. Ready, she sat. Derek folded his hands on the table. Manicured nails, a watch that cost more than her car, a wedding ring that caught the fluorescent light and threw it back like a challenge. Let me be very clear about our situation. My grandfather suffered from severe dementia. Advanced stage. He wandered away from his care facility 6 months ago. We have been searching ever since. Lily found her voice. He seemed fine to me. Derek smiled. Patient, patronizing. Of course he did. That is how the disease works. Moments of clarity surrounded by fog. He would not have known he was sick. That is the tragedy of it. Gregory pulled documents from the briefcase. Medical files, thick, official. He spread them across the table like evidence at a trial. Diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease. Psychiatric evaluations. Doctor's notes documenting progressive cognitive decline. This is not speculation, Miss Parker. This is medical fact. Lily stared at the papers. The words blurred together. Dementia, incompetent, confused. But she remembered Theodore's eyes that final morning. Sharp, clear, purposeful. 3 days before he died, Derek continued, my grandfather signed a will. A will leaving $280 million to you. A woman he met in a diner. A woman who, by his own documented mental state, he should not have been making financial decisions with. Gregory opened another folder. Bank statements. The numbers were obscene. More zeros than Lily had ever seen outside of lottery commercials. The Blackwood Family Trust. $340 million in total assets. My grandfather's life work. And according to this will, most of it goes to you. Derek leaned forward. I am sure you can see how this looks. Lily felt the walls closing in. The diner suddenly too small, too hot. Her uniform stuck to her back with sweat. I did not know who he was. I just gave him breakfast. Derek nodded, sympathetic, understanding. I believe you, truly. I think my grandfather, in his confusion, formed an attachment. He was lonely, isolated. You were kind to him. That kindness in his deteriorated mental state became something more in his mind. He convinced himself you were special, that you deserved his legacy. He paused. But you and I both know that is not how inheritance works. Is it? Lily said nothing. Derek's tone shifted, harder now. The velvet glove removed. Let me tell you what happens if you contest this. My legal team, and I employ 12 lawyers at $400 an hour each, will tie this up in probate court for a decade, maybe longer. We will depose you, your mother, your friends. We will examine every financial transaction you have made for the past 5 years. Every text message, every social media post. We will find every parking ticket, every late rent payment, every desperate moment, and we will use it to paint you as a predator who targeted a vulnerable old man. Gregory spoke for the first time. His voice was thin, reedy. The legal fees alone would bankrupt you within 6 months. Derek reached into his jacket, pulled out a check, placed it on the table. Face up, $75,000, made out to Lily Parker. This is a settlement offer. Sign a document stating that Theodore was confused, that you had no undue influence, that the will was made under mental incompetence. Take this money. It is more than you make in 2 years. Get your mother proper medical care. Pay your debts. Walk away clean. Lily stared at the check. The numbers swam. $75,000, her rent, her mother's medication, the physical therapy, the collection notices. All of it. Gone. Solved. With one signature. Her hand moved toward the pen Gregory offered. Stopped. She thought of Theodore's last words. Keep being you. Do not let them change you. She thought of the notebook hidden in her apron. The poisoning, the embezzlement, the desperate warning. She pushed the check back across the table. I need time to think, and I need to understand what Theodore wanted. Derek's expression did not change, but something flickered behind his eyes. Calculation. Reassessment. What did you say? I said I need time. Come back tomorrow. With an appointment. The silence that followed was suffocating. Derek stood slowly, buttoned his jacket, his movements precise, controlled. But Lily saw his jaw tighten, saw the muscle twitch at his temple. Miss Parker, I came here to be reasonable, to offer you a generous settlement for a will that has no legal standing. But if you refuse, if you force my hand, I will bury you. He leaned down, his voice dropping to a whisper only she could hear. I have already started. By tomorrow morning, Child Protective Services will be investigating your mother's living conditions. By tomorrow afternoon, your landlord will have an eviction order. By tomorrow evening, your bank accounts will be frozen pending fraud investigation. And by this time next week, you will have nothing, no money, no apartment, no mother, nothing. He straightened. Think carefully about what you can afford to lose. Derek and Gregory walked out. The door chimed cheerfully behind them, a sound grotesquely out of place. Frank appeared at Lily's side. That guy is a snake. Lily watched through the window as the black Escalade pulled away from the curb, tires crunching through snow. Worse than a snake. Snakes kill for food. He kills for sport. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Unknown number. She let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, it pinged. She listened, her blood turning to ice. Miss Parker, this is Child Protective Services. We have received an anonymous report regarding inadequate care for Janet Parker, age 52, disabled adult. State law requires a home welfare check within 24 hours. Please contact us immediately to schedule. Lily's hands shook. Frank saw her face. What is it? He called CPS. He is trying to take my mother, her vision blurred. Not with tears, with rage. Pure crystalline rage. She pulled the notebook from her apron, flipped to the last page, read the address again. Robert Caldwell, 847 Willow Street. She looked at Frank. I need the rest of the day off. Go, I will cover. Lily grabbed her coat and ran. Willow Street was in the old part of Denver. Victorian houses with peeling paint and sagging porches. Trees older than the city itself, bare branches clawing at the gray sky. Number 847 sat between a boarded-up craftsman and a house converted into apartments. 3 stories, narrow, a small yard overgrown with weeds poking through the snow. Lights on inside. Lily climbed the steps. The wood creaked under her feet. She knocked. No answer. Knocked again. Harder. Mr. Caldwell? Please, I need help. Theodore Montgomery sent me. Movement inside. Footsteps. Heavy. Cautious. The door opened a crack. A chain lock stretched tight across the gap. A man peered out. 60-something. Gray hair wild and uncombed. Wire frame glasses crooked on his nose. A cardigan over a faded t-shirt that read The Clash in cracked letters. Theodore is dead. His voice was gravel and whiskey and disappointment. I know. He left me this. Lily held up the notebook. The man stared at it. His expression changed. Surprise. Then something else. Recognition. Maybe fear. Where did you get that? He left it for me. At the diner, the day before he died. Robert Caldwell, because it had to be him, studied her face. Long enough that Lily felt exposed. Examined. Judged. What is your name, hey? Lily Parker. He sighed, a long, weary sound. Damn, old man, he actually did it. Robert unlatched the chain, opened the door. Get in before you freeze. The interior of the house was chaos. Books everywhere, stacked on shelves, piled on the floor, teetering in towers that defied physics. Law journals, novels, newspapers yellowing at the edges. Coffee mugs on every surface, some empty, some half full, all forgotten. Robert cleared a space on a velvet sofa that might have been green once, but was now an indeterminate shade of gray. Sit, talk. Lily sat. Theodore wrote that you are the only lawyer he trusts, that you are the only one who ever told him no. Robert laughed, bitter. I called him a corporate vulture to his face. 1994, he wanted me to help him crush a competitor through legal loopholes. I refused. Said if that was how he did business, I wanted no part of it. He fired me on the spot. Had security escort me out of his building. We have not spoken in 30 years. Then why does he trust you? Robert walked to a bookshelf, pulled down a bottle of bourbon, poured 2 fingers into a smudged glasses, did not offer Lily any. Because telling the truth cost me something. Cost me a lot, actually. My reputation, my career. Most of my clients left after word got around I had refused Theodore Montgomery. Spent the next decade rebuilding from nothing. He drank, winced. But I could sleep at night. That is worth more than Theodore ever understood. Until now, apparently. He gestured to the notebook. May I? Lily handed it over. Robert sat in an armchair that matched the sofa, opened the notebook, started reading. Lily watched his face, saw his eyes widen, saw his jaw tighten, saw his knuckles whiten as his grip on the notebook increased. 15 minutes passed in silence. Finally, Robert looked up. Derek poisoned him. Systematically. For 18 months. I know. And you came to me because Derek threatened you. He offered me $75,000 to sign away any claim. Said if I refused, he would destroy my life. Robert closed the notebook. carefully, like it might explode. He will. Derek Montgomery is a wolf, smart, ruthless, connected. If he has decided to eliminate you as a threat, he will use every resource at his disposal. Then help me. Why should I? I owe Theodore nothing. He was a bastard who built an empire by crushing people like me. Lily leaned forward. Because he changed, at the end. He saw what his grandson had become, and he tried to stop it. He chose me, someone with nothing, to inherit his company. Not because I am smart, not because I am qualified, but because I see people, the invisible ones. The ones everyone else walks past. She pulled the silver key from her pocket. He left me this, FNB 404, a safety deposit box. He wrote that the real inheritance is not the money, it is what is in that box. Robert stared at the key. First National Bank. If you have the physical key, you have access rights. Even if Derek has frozen the estate accounts, he cannot touch a safety deposit box without a specific court order. So we go get it. Robert shook his head. Not we. You. I am a washed-up lawyer who drinks too much and takes cases defending shoplifters. I am not equipped to fight Montgomery Industries. Please. The word hung in the air. Robert looked at her, really looked, the same way Theodore had, seeing past the surface. Why are you doing this? You could take the 75,000, disappear. Let Derek have his empire. Live your life. Because Theodore asked me not to let them change me. And if I take that money, if I walk away, that is exactly what happens. I become someone who can be bought. Someone who only helps when it is convenient. Someone who is blind to the invisible. She stood. My mother has Parkinson's. We are 3 months behind on rent. I have $83 in my bank account. I should take the money. But every time I think about it, I see Theodore counting pennies, and I remember that he chose me for a reason. Robert was quiet for a long time. Then he stood. First National opens at 9 tomorrow morning. Derek's office is 3 blocks away. He will be watching. This is going to be dangerous, I know. Robert walked to a closet, pulled out a coat that had seen better decades. Your mother, where is she? At our apartment. Not safe. Derek knows where you live. Bring her here. My neighbor Dorothy Sullivan is a retired nurse. She can stay with her while we handle this. Lily felt tears prick her eyes. Thank you. Robert waved her off. Do not thank me yet. We have not won anything. We have not even started fighting. He handed her a flip phone. Old, scratched. Turn off your smartphone. Leave it here. Derek is tracking it. Use this for now. Lily stared at the burner phone. He is really going to come after us, is not he? Robert's expression was grim. He already has. We are just choosing to fight back. 6:30 in the morning. Pre-dawn darkness. Snow falling harder now. Thick flakes that muffled sound and turned the world into a snow globe. Lily and Robert stood half a block from First National Bank. The building was massive. Marble columns, brass fixtures, the kind of architecture meant to inspire trust and intimidate poor people. Robert had not slept. He had spent the night researching Montgomery Industries, corporate filings, financial reports, news articles, building a case he hoped he would not need. The doors open at 9. We need to be first in line. What if Derek is already there? Robert pulled his coat tighter against the cold. Then we fight, legally, publicly. Banks do not like scenes, neither do billionaires. If he wants to stop you, he will have to do it in front of witnesses. 8:55. A line formed. Business people with briefcases, elderly couples, a young mother with a toddler. 8:58. A black Escalade pulled up to the curb. Lily's stomach dropped. Derek emerged first. Then Gregory. Then 2 large men in dark suits. Security, or worse. Derek was on his phone, his voice carrying in the cold air. I do not care what the judge said. Freeze everything with Montgomery's name on it. Everything. He looked up, locked eyes with Lily. Time stopped. Derek's expression shifted. Surprise, then fury, then calculation. All in 2 seconds. He snapped something to his security. Pointed at Lily, 9 o'clock. The bank doors unlocked. Derek shouted, Do not let her inside. Lily ran. She did not think, did not plan, just moved. Her feet hit the sidewalk, slipping slightly on ice, catching, propelling her forward. Behind her heavy footsteps, the security guards were fast. Robert stepped into their path, not physically blocking them, but creating an obstacle. A witness. You touch her, that is assault. I am her attorney. We have every right to enter a public bank. The guards hesitated, seen at a bank entrance, cameras everywhere. Potential lawsuits. That half second was enough. Lily reached the revolving door, pushed through, into the lobby. Warm air hit her face. The smell of floor polish and money. High ceilings, marble floors, teller windows lining one wall. She ran to the nearest teller. Young woman. Glasses. Name tag that read Sandra. I need to access safety deposit box 404. I have the key. Behind her, the revolving door spun. Derek forced through. His security followed. Then Robert, moving faster than his age suggested. The bank guard, a nervous young man barely out of his 20s, stepped forward. Ma'am, please, you need to wait. Derek's voice cut through the lobby. Security! Stop that woman! She is attempting to access stolen property. Sandra the teller looked confused, frightened. Lily slammed her ID and the silver key onto the counter. I have the key. I have authorization. Please, I need to access this box. Derek arrived breathless, face red with exertion and rage. That box belongs to my grandfather's estate. I am the executor. Do not let her touch it. Robert stepped between them and the teller. My client has the physical key. That grants her access rights under Colorado banking law. Does Mr. Montgomery have a court order specifically prohibiting access to box 404? Derek faltered. The estate is frozen, estate bank accounts, not physical property leases. Show me a court order or step aside. A woman appeared from an office behind the tellers. 50-something, severe bun, suit that meant authority. Manager, according to her nameplate. Sandra Walsh. What is happening here? Derek turned to her, charm activated instantly. Sandra, thank God, I am Derek Montgomery, Montgomery Industries. My deceased grandfather had a safety deposit box here. This woman is trying to steal from it. Sandra looked at Lily, at the key, at Robert. Do you have identification that matches the box lease? Sandra typed on her computer. Frowned. There is no name on file for box 404. It was leased under privacy protection protocol. Physical key is the only authorization required. Derek's charm evaporated. This is theft. I am calling the police. Sandra's expression hardened. She had dealt with entitled rich men before. Sir, if she has the key, she has legal access. If you believe there is fraud, you need to obtain a court order. Until then, I am required to allow her entry. She turned to Lily. Please follow me, Miss Parker. Lily walked toward the vault entrance. Derek grabbed her arm. Enjoy it while you can. That is evidence of forgery. My lawyers will prove it. Robert pried Derek's fingers off Lily's arm. Touch her again and I file assault charges. Sandra led Lily through a heavy steel door, down a corridor, into a temperature-controlled room lined with metal drawers. Thousands of them. Small, medium, large. She stopped at row 400. Here, 404. Sandra inserted her key into the left lock, turned it, gestured to Lily. Lily's hands shook as she inserted the silver key. It slid in smoothly, turned with a soft click. Sandra pulled out a long metal box, carried it to a private viewing room. Take your time, press the button when you are finished. The door closed. Lily was alone with Theodore's secrets. The box was heavier than she expected. She set it on the small table, took a breath, opened the lid. No cash, no jewels, no stacks of bearer bonds like in movies. Just 3 items. A thick manila envelope labeled the Phoenix Protocol. A USB drive marked evidence in Theodore's handwriting. A smaller envelope with her name written on the front. For Lily. She opened the small envelope first. A letter. Handwritten. Theodore's shaky script. Dear Lily, if you are reading this, I am gone. And Derek has likely tried to destroy you. Do not be afraid. For 3 years I tested you. I gave you every opportunity to exploit me, to seek advantage, to discover my wealth. You never did. You help because helping is who you are. That kind of integrity is rarer than any fortune. This is not a will. It is a contract I signed in 2019 before Derek's treatments began. The Phoenix Protocol transfers 51% controlling shares of Montgomery Industries to the bearer of the silver key. You. You do not just inherit money, Lily. You inherit responsibility. My company has lost its way. Derek has corrupted what I built. You have the power to fix it. The USB contains evidence of his crimes. The board will resist you. Society will question you. But remember, you earned this not through birthright, but through character. Fire Derek. Prosecute him. Then do what I should have done years ago. Make Montgomery Industries about people, not just profits. Keep being you, Lily Parker. The world needs more humans who count pennies and remember names. With gratitude and hope, Theodore. Lily wiped her eyes. Read it again. then opened the large envelope. Legal documents, dense, official, corporate letterhead, notary seals. Dated March 15, 2019. Transfer of voting rights and corporate authority. The language was clear. Upon death of Theodore Montgomery, 51% controlling shares of Montgomery Industries transfer immediately to bearer of Silver Key. Said bearer has full authority to appoint and remove CEO board members and make all corporate decisions. Lily stared at the words. She owned the company, not just Theodore's money, the entire company. $2.1 billion in assets, 3,000 employees, patents worth hundreds of millions, all controlled by a waitress who could barely pay rent. She pocketed the documents in USB drive, left the box empty except for the letter, which she reread once more before folding carefully and placing in her jacket pocket, close to her heart. Press the button. Sandra appeared. Everything okay? Perfect. They walked back to the lobby. Derek waited, arms crossed, smug. Find anything interesting? Lily stopped 3 feet from him. Yes, I found out I am your new boss. Derek's smile vanished. What? As of Theodore's death, I control 51% of Montgomery Industries. You are fired, Derek, effective immediately. Derek laughed, nervous, disbelieving. That is insane. You are a waitress. You cannot just walk in and take my company. Not your company. Theodore's. And now mine. She turned to Robert. Call Daniel Garrett, Chief of Security at Montgomery Industries. Tell him Code Phoenix is active. Derek's face went white. You cannot. That is not. You do not have the authority. Lily walked toward the exit. See you in the boardroom, Derek. Or better yet, see you in court. Criminal court. The doors closed behind her, leaving Derek standing in the marble lobby, his world collapsing around him. Robert's house, 11:30 in the morning. Janet Parker sat in the guest room upstairs with Dorothy Sullivan, the retired nurse who had taken one look at Janet's medication list and immediately started reorganizing her treatment schedule. Downstairs, Lily and Robert sat at the kitchen table. The USB drive plugged into Robert's ancient laptop. 73 video files, spreadsheets, audio recordings, scanned to documents. Robert clicked the first video. The screen showed a bedroom. Expensive. Large bed with an ornate head frame. Nightstand with medications. Window overlooking a garden. Timestamp, August 12, 2023, 9:47 p.m. The angle was high. A hidden camera, mounted somewhere in the ceiling fixture maybe. A door opened. Derek entered carrying a silver tea tray. An old man sat up in bed. Theodore, thinner than Lily had ever seen him, confused, his eyes unfocused. Video. Derek spoke, his voice clear. Time for your evening tea, grandfather. Video. Theodore looked around. Derek, is it morning? No, it is night. Drink your tea. Doctor's orders. Video. Theodore took the cup with trembling hands, sipped, grimaced, tastes bitter. Wrong. That is the new medication. It will help your memory. Video. Theodore drank. 5 minutes later, his eyes glazed, his speech slurred. He could barely sit upright. Derek pulled papers from his jacket. Sign here, grandfather. Just routine board authorizations. Video. Theodore, barely conscious, scribbled something that might have been a signature. Derek smiled directly at the camera, not knowing it was there. Perfect. Another week of this, he will not remember his own name. The video ended. Lily felt sick. Robert's face was stone. That is attempted murder. Maybe successful murder. There are 72 more videos. They watched, one after another, September, October, November, the pattern consistent, the dosage increasing, Theodore's coherence decreasing. One video showed Derek talking to someone off camera, a woman's voice. How much longer? 2 more months at current dose. Then either permanent damage or death. Either works for your purposes. Audio files revealed more. Derek and Gregory discussing embezzlement, plans to liquidate research and development, selling patents, covering missing money by blaming Theodore's mismanagement. Robert leaned back in his chair. This is everything we need. Criminal prosecution, civil liability. Derek is finished, but he knows we have it now. Robert nodded, which makes us targets. Derek has already proven he is willing to kill. He is not going to let this evidence reach prosecutors without a fight. What do we do? Robert stood. We go on offense. We take this to Montgomery Industries board tomorrow. Force them to choose sides. Remove Derek before he can destroy the evidence or us. How do we even get into the building? Robert picked up his phone. I called Daniel Garrett, Theodore's security chief. 40 years with the company. If he accepts Code Phoenix, he will get us in. He dialed. put it on speaker. 4 rings. A gruff voice answered, Garrett. Dan, it is Robert Caldwell. Pause, then surprise. Caldwell? Hell has not heard your voice in 30 years. What do you want? Theodore is dead. But he left instructions. Code Phoenix. You remember? Another pause. Longer. I remember. You have the bearer? She is right here. And she has evidence that Derek murdered Theodore. The silence stretched. Then Garrett spoke, his voice harder. I suspected. Could not prove it. Theodore played it close. When do you need entry? Tomorrow. 9 a.m. board meeting. I will be in the lobby. Code Phoenix means Theodore's orders supersede everyone else's, including Derek's. Thank you, Dan. Do not thank me yet. The board is going to eat her alive. She ready for that? Robert looked at Lily. She will be. The call ended. Lily exhaled. What happens now? Now we prepare. You need to understand what you are walking into. Montgomery Industries is not just a company, it is an empire. The board members are billionaires, politicians, corporate raiders. They will see you as a threat, an outsider, someone to eliminate. I do not know anything about running a company. You do not need to. You need to know people. And according to Theodore, that is your strength. Robert pulled files from his bag, research from the night before. Derek has been VP for 8 years. Under his leadership, the company's worth has doubled, on paper. But I found discrepancies. $47 million in transfers to offshore accounts, hidden in research and development budgets. Derek has been stealing. So we show them the evidence, the videos, the embezzlement. They will have to remove him. If they believe us. If they do not think the videos are fake. If they care more about justice than stock prices. Robert met her eyes. This is not going to be easy, Lily. Are you sure? She thought of Theodore counting pennies, of his final letter, of the trust he had placed in a nobody waitress. I am sure. 11:43 p.m. Lily was asleep in Robert's guest room, exhausted from the day's adrenaline. Robert sat in his study, scanning documents, preparing arguments. The crash came without warning. Glass shattering, a whoosh of ignition, heat and light and chaos. Fire exploded through the front window. Molotov cocktail, crude, effective. The old Victorian was dry wood and worn fabric and decades of accumulated tinder. Flames raced up the curtains, across the floor, up the walls. Smoke alarms screamed. Robert ran to the stairs. Fire! Everyone out! Now! Lily burst from the guest room. Behind her, Dorothy was already helping Janet toward the stairs. The retired nurse moved with military efficiency, supporting Janet's weight, guiding her down. Robert tried to grab files from his study. The heat drove him back. The room was already engulfed. The originals, the notebook, everything. No time. They evacuated through the back door into the yard. Snow hissed where embers fell. The house burned like a torch, flames shooting through the roof, turning night into terrible day. Sirens in the distance. Fire trucks arrived 7 minutes later. Too late. The structure was gone. Just walls and memories and ash. A fire marshal approached Robert. Everyone okay? Physically. Any idea what started this? Robert pointed to the street. Glass shards. The smell of gasoline. Arson. Definitely arson. The marshal made notes. Any enemies? Robert looked at Lily. Just one. And he is worth $2 billion. Lily stood in the snow watching the house burn, all the evidence, the original Phoenix protocol, Theodore's notebook, the backup files, gone. Derek had destroyed it all. Robert put a hand on her shoulder. We still have the USB, and we have the bank's copy of the Phoenix protocol in the vault. He did not win. But Lily felt the weight of what they were facing. Derek had tried to kill them, and tomorrow they were walking into his territory. She looked at her mother shivering under Dorothy's coat. Mom, are you okay? Janet nodded. I am fine, sweetheart. Are you? Lily thought about that. Thought about Theodore, about the inheritance, about the man who had tried to burn them alive. I will be, after tomorrow, because tomorrow she was going to war. Morning came cold and merciless. Lily stood in front of a mirror in a borrowed bedroom at Dorothy Sullivan's house, 3 blocks from where Robert's Victorian had burned. The house smelled of lavender and old books and safety, temporary safety. She wore a charcoal blazer Dorothy's daughter had left behind years ago. Too big in the shoulders, too long in the sleeves, but professional enough to walk into a building worth $2 billion and pretend she belonged. Her reflection stared back, dark circles under her eyes. Hair pulled into a severe bun, she looked tired, scared, nothing like a CEO. But Theodore had not chosen a CEO. He had chosen her. Robert appeared in the doorway. He had not slept either. His suit was rumpled, his tie crooked, his eyes bloodshot, but his jaw was set. Ready? No. Good. Fear means you understand the stakes. They took Dorothy's car, a 20-year-old Buick that rattled and smoked and drew stares from the BMWs and Teslas flooding downtown Denver's financial district. Montgomery Tower rose 52 stories into a sky the color of old steel. Glass and chrome and absolute confidence, the kind of building designed to make visitors feel small. Lily felt very small. They parked 3 blocks away, walked through snow that had turned to brown slush. The sidewalks were crowded with morning commuters, suits and expensive coats, and faces that never looked down. 8:45. The lobby was cathedral-sized, marble floors, waterfall feature. Modern art that probably cost more than Lily's entire life. Security desk manned by 3 guards in crisp uniforms. Robert walked straight to the desk. Robert Caldwell and Lily Parker. We are here for the 9 o'clock board meeting. The guard, a young man with a military haircut, checked his computer. You are not on the list, sir. Robert leaned forward. Call Daniel Garrett. Tell him Code Phoenix is active. The guard frowned but picked up the phone, spoke quietly. His expression changed. Surprise, then something like respect. He is coming down. They waited. Lily watched elevators disgorge employees, confident, purposeful, people who belonged in buildings like this, not waitresses who counted pennies. An elevator opened. A man emerged, late 60s, military bearing, steel gray hair cut close, shoulders that had carried weight and responsibility and had not bent. He wore a black suit, white shirt, thin tie. No jewelry, no flash. Daniel Garrett. His eyes found Lily immediately, studied her with an intensity that made her want to step back, evaluating, judging. Then he walked over, extended his hand. Miss Parker, Theodore told me about you. 2 years ago, said if anything happened to him, trust the waitress with sad eyes. I thought he was losing it. His grip was firm. Guess he was not. He turned to the guards. They are with me. Full access. But sir, Mr. Derek Montgomery left explicit orders. Garrett's voice did not rise. Did not need to. I do not work for Derek. I worked for Theodore. And Theodore's final orders supersede his grandson's. Clear? The guards nodded. Garrett gestured to the elevators. 52nd floor. Board meets in 10 minutes. You know what you are walking into? War. Garrett almost smiled. Good. Because that is exactly what it is. The elevator ride was silent, smooth. So smooth, Lily barely felt the ascent. Just numbers climbing, 10, 20, 30, higher than she had ever been in her life. Her stomach twisted. Robert sensed it. Breathe. You are not here to convince them you are qualified. You are here to prove Derek is a criminal. What if they do not believe us? Then we go to the prosecutors directly. But it is better if the board removes him first. Cleaner. Faster. The elevator chimed. 52nd floor. The doors opened onto a corridor that belonged in a museum. Original artwork. Designer furniture. Floor-to-ceiling windows showing Denver spreading out below like a game board. Garrett led them down the hallway, their footsteps muffled by carpet that probably cost more per square foot than Lily's rent. They reached massive double doors. Mahogany, polished to a mirror shine. Through those doors is the boardroom. 12 board members. Derek is presenting a proposal to liquidate research and development, sell the patents to Meridian Biotech. If that vote passes, Montgomery Industries will be gutted. Derek walks away with a fortune. The company dies within 5 years. Lily felt the USB drive in her pocket, heavy as a gun. Then we stopped the vote. Garrett reached for the door handle. One more thing. These people eat sharks for breakfast. They will see you as weak. Use that. Let them underestimate you. He opened the doors. The boardroom was exactly what Lily expected, and somehow worse. A 20-foot table, leather chairs, windows showing mountains in the distance. Everything designed to reinforce power and hierarchy, and the absolute certainty that decisions made here shape the world. 12 people sat around the table. 11 men, 1 woman, ages ranging from 50s to 70s. Combined net worth probably in the tens of billions. At the head of the table, Derek Montgomery stood in front of a presentation screen. He was mid-sentence when the doors opened. And therefore I recommend immediate liquidation of R&D. Meridian has offered $1.8 billion for our aerospace patents. 40% stock value increase, immediate shareholder return. He looked up, saw Lily. His face went through a sequence of emotions. Shock, fury, fear, then smooth control as the mask slammed back into place. Security! Remove these people immediately. Garrett stepped forward. She has the floor, Derek. Sit down. You are fired, Garrett. You cannot fire me. You are not CEO. You are not even majority shareholder anymore. Derek turned to the board members, appealing. This woman is trespassing. She is a con artist who manipulated my grandfather. I will not let her disrupt this meeting. Victoria Hayes, the chief legal officer, spoke. Late 50s, sharp eyes, gray suit, the only woman at the table. Who are you? Lily walked forward. Her legs felt like water, but she kept moving. To the front of the room, next to Derek. My name is Lily Parker. For 3 years, I served Theodore Montgomery breakfast at the Iron Skillet Diner. I did not know he was Theodore Montgomery. I just knew him as Theodore, a kind old man who counted pennies. She paused. And who was being poisoned by his grandson. The room erupted. That is slander. Get her out of here. This is outrageous. Derek's voice cut through. Lies! All lies. She is trying to steal my family's company. Lily nodded to Robert. He moved to the presentation computer, pulled out the USB drive. May I? Victoria gestured. Permission granted. Robert plugged in the drive. The screen changed. Video file. Timestamp. August 12, 2023. The bedroom appeared. Theodore in bed. Derek entering with tea. The boardroom went silent. They watched. Derek forcing Theodore to drink. Theodore pleading. It burns. Derek threatening 2 more months until permanent damage. The woman's voice off camera. Either permanent damage or death. Either works. 5 minutes. That was all it took. When the video ended, nobody spoke. Derek's face was white. That is fake. Deepfake technology. Anyone can make those now. There are 72 more videos, Robert said quietly. 18 months of documentation. We have had them analyzed by Dr. Rachel Foster at MIT. They are authentic. He distributed folders, financial documents. We also have forensic accounting showing $47 million in unauthorized transfers to offshore accounts controlled by Derek Montgomery, hidden in research and development budgets. He was not just poisoning Theodore, he was embezzling. Gregory Whitmore, the CFO, spoke. His voice shook. I discovered those transfers last week. When I started asking questions, Derek threatened my family. Derek stood. This is a conspiracy. You are all conspiring against me. Sit down, Derek. Victoria's voice. Steel wrapped in silk. Derek remained standing. I built this company. I doubled its value. You cannot just throw me out because some waitress shows up with fake videos. Lily pulled the Phoenix Protocol from her jacket. This is not a will, Mr. Montgomery. This is a contract Theodore signed in 2019. Before your treatments began. It transfers 51% controlling shares to the bearer of the silver key. She held up the silver key. I am that bearer. As of Theodore's death, I am the majority shareholder. She turned to the board. I am exercising my voting rights. I move to remove Derek Montgomery from all positions at Montgomery Industries, effective immediately. And I am requesting the board refer this evidence to the district attorney for criminal prosecution. Victoria studied the Phoenix Protocol document. This is notarized, filed with the Colorado Secretary of State. If authentic, it is legally binding. It is not authentic, Derek screamed. The documents were destroyed in a fire. Convenient, right? She probably started it herself. We have copies, Robert said, and the original is in the company vault. Daniel? Garrett nodded. Theodore filed a copy with corporate security in 2019. I have it in my office safe. I can retrieve it now. Do it, Victoria said. Garrett left. The room waited in terrible silence. 3 minutes. Garrett returned. Handed Victoria a sealed envelope. She opened it, read carefully, compared it to Lily's copy. They match. This is Theodore's signature. I recognize it. She looked up. Miss Parker has legal authority. Derek's control shattered. No, you cannot do this. I am his grandson. I am family. She is nobody. Lily met his eyes. I am the person Theodore chose. Because family is not about blood. It is about who sees you when you are invisible. Victoria spoke to the board. All in favor of removing Derek Montgomery pending criminal investigation? Hands rose. 1, 3, 5, 8, 9 out of 12. Derek looked around the table. Betrayed. You will regret this, all of you. I will sue. I will fight. I have lawyers. You will need them, Victoria said. For your criminal defense. She gestured to Garrett. Daniel, please escort Mr. Montgomery from the building. He is no longer an employee of Montgomery Industries. Derek grabbed his briefcase. As he passed Lily, he leaned close, whispered so only she could hear. You think you have won. You have no idea what you have started. I will bury you. I will destroy everything you love. And when I am done, you will beg me to take this company back. Then he was gone. Lily stood at the front of the boardroom, 12 pairs of eyes on her. Victoria spoke. Miss Parker, what happens now? Lily took a breath. Now we save the company. 3 weeks later, Denver District Court. The civil case came first, Derek contesting the Phoenix Protocol, claiming Theodore was incompetent when he signed it, claiming Lily had manipulated a sick old man. The courtroom was packed. Media in the gallery, employees from Montgomery Industries. Public observers fascinated by the story. Waitress versus Billionaire. David versus Goliath. Judge Patricia Holloway presided. 62. Former federal prosecutor. A face that suggested she had seen every trick and believed none of them. Derek's legal team was formidable. Winston Pierce led, silver hair, $400 hourly rate, 3 associate attorneys flanking him like soldiers. Robert sat alone at the plaintiff's table. Rumpled suit, crooked tie, a man outgunned and outspent and refusing to quit. Lily sat next to him, hands folded, back straight, terrified. Pierce's opening was devastating. Your Honor, this case is about a vulnerable elderly man and the woman who exploited him. Theodore Montgomery suffered from progressive dementia. He wandered from his care facility, lived on the streets, was found by Miss Parker, who saw an opportunity. Pierce showed photos. Theodore looking confused. Medical records, psychiatric evaluations. She cultivated a relationship, made him dependent, then convinced him to sign over his fortune. This is textbook predatory manipulation. Derek took the stand, composed, sympathetic. My grandfather raised me. When he started forgetting things, I brought him home. Hired caregivers. But he would wander. I found him in that diner, confused, talking about experiments. It broke my heart. He looked at Lily. Miss Parker took advantage of his confusion, made him think she was his only friend, then exploited that trust. Robert's cross-examination was brief. Mr. Montgomery, when did you last see your grandfather alive? Derek hesitated. The day before he died. And what did you discuss? Legal matters, family business. Did you give him tea that day? Pierce objected. Relevance, the judge allowed it. Derek's jaw tightened. I may have. I do not recall specifically. Robert played the video, Derek forcing Theodore to drink. The threats, the dosage discussions. The courtroom gasped. Pierce jumped up. Objection. These videos are unverified. We have experts ready to testify they are deepfakes. Robert called Dr. Rachel Foster. She testified for an hour. Metadata, lighting analysis, microexpression studies. These videos are authentic. No manipulation detected. Pierce attacked. But deepfake technology improves daily. How can you be certain? Because I am the best in my field. And I am certain. The trial stretched over days. Derek's handwriting experts claimed the Phoenix Protocol signature was forged. Robert's experts said it was genuine. Derek's psychiatrist said Theodore was delusional. Robert's doctor said Theodore was lucid until Derek's treatments began. Evidence piled against evidence, expert against expert. By day 4, Robert looked exhausted, beaten. Pierce sensed victory. Your Honor, the evidence is clear. No original Phoenix Protocol, just copies that could be forged, videos that could be fake, a sick old man and an opportunistic waitress. I move for summary judgment in favor of Derek Montgomery. The judge looked at Robert. Mr. Caldwell, do you have anything else? Robert stood slowly. Your Honor, we have something better than signatures. We have 847 pieces of physical evidence that Theodore was lucid, planning, and methodical for 3 years. He wheeled in a cart, covered with a cloth, pulled it off. Pennies, hundreds of them, in clear evidence bags, arranged chronologically. Pierce frowned. What is this? Robert projected images onto the screen, magnified penny edges. Micro engravings visible, tiny text, PHX, 51, PCT, Montgomery. This is Theodore's backup authentication system. He micro-engraved these United States pennies with an encryption key. He gave Miss Parker 1 penny at a time over 3 years. When assembled chronologically, they spell out the Phoenix Protocol authorization code. The courtroom murmured. Robert called Dr. Michael Patterson, numismatic expert. I examined all 847 pennies. The engravings were made with professional laser equipment between 2021 and 2024. The oxidation patterns are consistent with genuine aging. These cannot be faked. Creating this system would require hundreds of hours of meticulous work over multiple years. It demonstrates long-term planning and cognitive function. Pierce cross-examined. Could not Miss Parker have engraved these herself? Dr. Patterson shook his head. Impossible. These pennies show 1 to 3 years of circulation wear after engraving. The chemical aging is real. You cannot fake oxidation patterns. Robert arranged the pennies on a display board. The complete message became visible. PHX 51% Montgomery and 2019 and bearer key Lily Parker. Irrevocable, transfer authorized TM Theodore Montgomery's initials. This is not a will written under duress. This is a 3-year authentication system created by a man who knew he would be attacked, who knew his grandson would claim he was incompetent, who prepared proof that would survive any legal challenge. He turned to the judge. Theodore Montgomery was not confused. He was brilliant, and he chose Lily Parker deliberately. The courtroom was silent. Pierce scrambled. It is still circumstantial. It does not prove anything. It proves Theodore was capable of complex long-term planning. It proves he was lucid. It proves he chose Miss Parker with full cognitive capacity. Judge Holloway leaned forward. Mr. Caldwell, where did you get these pennies? Robert smiled. Frank Martinez, owner of the Iron Skillet, saved every penny Theodore ever left on the table. Said it felt wrong to spend them. He had no idea why. Just felt like they mattered. The judge studied the penny display. This is the most unusual evidence I have seen in 30 years on the bench. She looked at Derek. Mr. Montgomery, your grandfather spent 3 years creating a physical authentication system using legal tender coins. That level of planning suggests a competent mind. She looked at the Phoenix Protocol. The document is properly notarized, filed with the state, matches the penny code, and predates any medical evidence of cognitive decline. She made her decision. I find the Phoenix Protocol valid and enforceable. Miss Lily Parker is the rightful controlling shareholder of Montgomery Industries. Lily closed her eyes, felt tears. The judge continued. Furthermore, the evidence of poisoning is compelling. I am referring this matter to the district attorney for immediate criminal investigation. She looked at Derek. Mr. Montgomery, you are ordered to surrender your passport. Remain within Colorado pending arraignment. Derek stood, his face red. This is a travesty. She manipulated all of you. That company is my birthright. Sir, you attempted to murder your grandmother for money. Sit down. Derek lost control. I built that company. I doubled its value. She is nobody. A waitress? She will destroy everything. Bailiff, remove Mr. Montgomery. As Derek was escorted out, still screaming, Lily felt no triumph, just sadness. He threw away everything for money he already had. Outside the courthouse, cameras waited. Detectives approached Derek. Derek Montgomery, you are under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy, elder abuse, embezzlement, and arson. Handcuffs clicked. Cameras flashed. A reporter shouted, Mr. Montgomery, did you poison your grandfather? Derek looked directly at the camera. This is persecution. Lily Parker is a con artist. The system failed. The police car drove away. Lily stood on the courthouse steps, Robert beside her, Janet supported by Dorothy. A reporter approached. Miss Parker, how does it feel to go from waitress to billionaire? Lily thought about Theodore counting pennies. I am not a billionaire. I am a temporary steward of Theodore's vision, and I plan to honor it. How will you do that? By remembering what he taught me, that every person matters, that kindness is not weakness, that the measure of wealth is what you give, not what you take. She walked away from the cameras. 6 months later, the Iron Skillet reopened, fully renovated. New kitchen, new equipment, fresh paint. But booth 4 remained unchanged. Same red vinyl, same view of the street. A small brass plaque now mounted on the wall above it. Theodore's table, where kindness changed everything. The business model had changed. Pay what you can. Surplus funds went to workforce training programs, housing for veterans, scholarships for struggling students. Frank Martinez still owned it, but Lily had backed the expansion. 3 more locations opening across Denver. She walked in early on a Tuesday morning, 7 o'clock, before the breakfast rush, the smell of coffee and bacon and hope. She poured herself a cup, sat in booth 4, looked out at the street where Theodore used to shuffle through snow. Her phone buzzed. Victoria Hayes, board meeting at 10, final vote on the Theodore Memorial Research Grant. Lily typed back, on my way. She ran Montgomery Industries now, sort of. She had hired a professional CEO, a former nonprofit director who understood that profit and purpose were not enemies. But Lily remained chairman of the board, the moral compass, the person who asked uncomfortable questions like why are we cutting healthcare benefits and how does this decision affect our lowest paid workers? The board hated it. The employees loved it. The stock had actually risen 15%. Turned out people liked companies with souls. A young waitress approached. 19. College student. Name tag read Sophie. Miss Parker, can I get you anything? Just coffee. Thank you, Sophie. The girl hesitated. Miss Parker, I just wanted to say, what you did, standing up to that billionaire, it mattered. My mom is a housekeeper. She saw you on the news and she cried. Said maybe people like us matter after all. Lily smiled. People like us have always mattered, Sophie. We just needed someone to see it. An old man shuffled in, worn coat, cap pulled low. He sat at the counter, pulled out a handful of change, counted slowly. Sophie watched him, glanced at Lily. Lily nodded. Permission. Sophie walked over. Good morning, sir. Coffee? The old man looked up. Please. But I think I am a little short today. Sophie smiled. Sir, this fell out of your pocket. She placed a dollar bill on the counter. I did not drop anything, miss. Must have been the wind. Lily watched, felt tears prick her eyes. The cycle continuing. She finished her coffee, left a $20 bill under the cup, walked to her car, a modest Toyota. She could afford a Ferrari now. But that was not who she was. She drove to Montgomery Tower, parked in the underground garage, took the elevator to 52, the boardroom, the same room where Derek had tried to destroy her. Now it was hers, round table instead of rectangular, her innovation. No head of the table, everyone equal. Victoria presented the Theodore Memorial Research Grant, $50 million annually for young engineers. Past 11 to 1, Lily smiled. One day she would visit Theodore's grave, place a penny on his headstone. Tell him about the company, about the diners, about Sophie learning to see invisible people. But not today. Today she had work. 3,000 employees depending on her to do right. She thought of Theodore's last letter. Keep being you, Lily Parker. She intended to. That evening, Lily stood at the window of her new apartment. Still modest, still in Denver, but better, safer. Janet had her own room, physical therapy twice a week, medication that actually worked. The tremors had improved. Not gone, but manageable. Janet played piano, slowly, carefully, but playing. Mom, yes, sweetheart, do you think I am doing the right thing? With the company? Janet stopped playing. You are doing the Theodore thing, which is the same as the right thing. She resumed playing. Lily looked out at Denver, lights spreading out like stars. Somewhere in federal prison, Derek Montgomery sat in a cell, 18 years ahead of him. Appeals filed, lawyers fighting. But the evidence was overwhelming. He would serve most of his sentence. Lily felt no satisfaction in that, just relief that he could not hurt anyone else. Her phone buzzed. Frank. Lily, we got a problem at the diner. Some corporate suit trying to buy us out. Says he represents a development company, offering 3 times what the property is worth. Tell him we are not interested. Already did. He says he will be back with a better offer, Lily sighed. Some things never change, but some things do. She walked to her dresser, opened the top drawer. The mason jar sat there. Theodore's treasures, the stones, the stamps, the brass button with the hidden key, and 1 penny. Shinier than the rest. The first one Theodore ever left. She picked it up, turned it over. On the reverse she had never noticed before. Micro-engraving so small she needed a magnifying glass. 1 word. Hope. Theodore had been planning from the beginning. 3 years of tests, 3 years of pennies, 3 years of hope that kindness still existed. She had passed. Lily placed the penny back in the jar. Tomorrow she would visit Theodore's grave. Tomorrow she would tell him about the scholarship recipients, the veterans housed, the families fed. Tomorrow she would thank him for seeing her. But tonight she sat with her mother and listened to imperfect piano and felt something she had not felt in years. Peace. Outside, snow began to fall. In diners across Denver, people counted pennies and waitresses covered the difference. In boardrooms, executives made decisions with conscience instead of just calculation. In courtrooms, justice was served 1 verdict at a time. And in an old cemetery on the edge of the city, a simple headstone read, Theodore Montgomery, 1951 to 2024. He saw people. Beneath it, scattered by visitors who had heard the story, lay dozens of pennies, shining in the snow. Each one a small act of kindness. Each one a reminder. Keep the change. Pass it forward. Make them see. The invisible among us are only invisible because we choose not to look. Theodore had looked, and in looking, he had changed everything. End.